In today's video, we're going to be looking at the difference between downleg boosters, annular boosters, and straight leg boosters, and the pros and cons of each booster design. The most common design is the straight leg booster. It is equipped on most OE carburetors. It is also still used in a lot of new carburetors. Basically, it's just a ring with half a pipe going down the middle, and that leads into the metering block, which is how it pulls fuel down through the venturi. It is a tried and true design, and it does work, and it does do its job. There aren't necessarily any real cons to the design, and if you have a carburetor with this design, I would not worry of whether or not it functions the way it needs to function. Next up, we have a very similar looking booster, but this is called the Downleg Booster. It looks very similar to the booster we just looked at, except for the fact that it actually turns down into the venturi and it doesn't have a tube running down the middle. The Downleg Booster acts somewhat like a slide for fuel going right into the venturi. Because the booster is positioned lower into the venturi, it actually receives a little bit better signal and tends to respond a little bit crisper than a straight leg booster. There are different versions of the Downleg Booster. For example, this carburetor in particular is an E85 version, so the transfer tube here is actually a little bit bigger than the gasoline version. The inner size of the ring is also a different size, and all of those things affect how the fuel reacts to changes in air velocity inside of the venturi. Different fuels aerate at different rates, and the horsepower limitations also play a factor. So whenever you're getting a carburetor custom designed, or if you're buying a specific off-the-shelf carburetor, all those key metrics have been put into consideration as the carburetor was being built. Within the downleg boosters, there are several variations, such as the inside size of the ring, the outside size of the ring, the inner diameter of the transfer tube leading into the booster, and whether or not it actually has a shear point on the bottom for fuel. And some downleg boosters are even designed a little bit taller, and that is also supposed to change the dynamic between the fuel and the airspeed. The most interesting booster, at least in my opinion, is the annular booster. And this basically just looks like a giant straight leg booster. It doesn't angle down like the down leg booster does, but it takes up a whole lot more space than the straight leg booster. But as you guys can see, there is no tube going down the middle like the down leg booster, and there's a radius entry going into the annular booster with a step. If we turn this thing upside down, you might be able to see that inside of this booster, you've got individual holes that are designed to have fuel flow through them. Whereas the down leg and the straight leg boosters only had one big hole, the annular booster is designed to pull fuel from all of these little holes at once. So instead of it dumping fuel at one point, it actually runs a channel all the way around and it pulls fuel from each individual nozzle. These nozzles collectively end up around the same size or larger than the larger tube that we were looking at earlier, but because it's spread around the venturi, it allows the booster to produce more of a shower head fuel flow pattern, and by extension it's supposed to atomize fuel a little bit better. Because of the amount of volume that it takes, it also cuts a little bit of the airflow, but that is by design because these types of boosters need to produce more vacuum inside of the booster in order to pull the appropriate amount of fuel. I'll give you an example. Say both of these carburetors are 750, this one has a downleg booster and this one has an annular booster. The engine that these carburetors would be sitting on would be something that a 650 would be more suited for rather than the 750s. So you install the 750 and the engine's a little bit lazier, it has less response down low, but the top end is pretty good. If you were to take the main body and swap it out for a main body with annular boosters, because the engine doesn't necessarily need all 750 CFM, by installing the larger boosters, you're cutting some of that CFM down, which allows more vacuum to build up in the boosters, which allows the carburetor to respond a little bit better. In doing so, the jetting is going to come in quicker and the fuel is going to be better atomized. But a 750 with annular boosters will flow more air than a 650 with downleg boosters, but the performance would be comparable. Now if we go ahead and flip the situation and you install the same 750 with downleg boosters and it responds great to the engine combination because the engine combination needs at least a 750 CFM, and then you go and install a carburetor that is the same 750 CFM rated but it has annular boosters, you'll probably notice that the carburetor either reacts exactly the same as the other carburetor or it actually slows down because the annular boosters are now blocking the necessary air that the car needs for it to properly run. So it is a double-edged sword and it entirely depends on what the engine wants and how you're going to give it the air that it needs. There really is no general rule of thumb of what engines require downleg boosters and what engines don't. Annular boosters are great, and a lot of times they're an excellent replacement for downleg or straight leg boosters. But if the engine combination is not built to accept them, you're just going to be hurting performance. So that's it for today. Go ahead and leave me some questions in the comments down below. I will see you guys all in the next one. Night Wrencher signing out.